BlackRock wants you out. And not just BlackRock, the entirety of Wall Street has fudded us out, has shaken us out while they accumulate their positions and get all their ducks in a row. This is a game that they've gotten very good at. First they ignore you, then they laugh at you, then they fight you, then you win. We're past the ignoring, the laughing, and the fighting, and now we're about to move into the stage of execution and winning if you are positioned correctly. And so we're going to show you guys here definitive proof of the FUD that they've been dropping on Bitcoin while they get their positions ready, and now they move Bitcoin into other funds that they offer as the largest asset manager in the world. And so if they're doing this with Bitcoin, what makes you think that they're not doing the same exact thing with XRP, and maybe even more so with XRP than they did with Bitcoin? We're going to talk about it in today's update. I appreciate you guys for stopping by. It is Friday, February 28th, 2025. We got a big monthly close coming in for our markets here today. So make sure you guys stay up to date by subscribing, hitting that notification bell, and all of our community resources are available at zachrector.com. Now, to get this episode started, I want to talk about GDP. We did just get the revised GDP numbers for Q4 of 2024. They remained at 2.3% positive growth, right? But when we look at it, nearly a quarter of that GDP is actually coming from government spending. And so with Doge and Trump cutting and slashing and potentially reducing government spending here, could we actually see GDP actually go negative and contract significantly here at the start of 2025? This is what the Atlanta Fed is looking at right now with their projections for Q1 GDP, last week being at 2.3%, 1 month ago being at 3.9%, but now the Atlanta Fed is projecting a Q1 GDP will be negative 1.5%. So for the first time since 2022, we might be seeing a negative GDP here in the United States of America. Elon Musk elaborating on the point that I just made. A more accurate measure of GDP would exclude government spending. Otherwise, you can scale GDP artificially high by spending money on things that don't make people's lives better. For example, you could shift everyone who is building cars to working at the DMV. That would result in no cars and a much worse standard of living, but GDP would appear to be the same. And so this is part of, the sacrifice and kind of some of the pain that we're going to go through. But I think that we can put folks to a lot more productive use, maybe outside of these government administrative roles where they were really just not really achieving much. And we get these talented and skilled people into the private sector actually producing real goods and services. The point that I've also been making is, are we actually producing and actually bringing more output, or are we just charging more for the same goods and services? So when you account for inflation, you look at government spending, has the economy actually been growing? I beg to differ. And now you're starting to see the Atlanta Fed is projecting a negative 1.5% contraction for GDP in Q1 of 2025 here. So it's going to be very interesting to watch. We very well could be hitting into a technical recession. In my opinion, we're already in a jobs recession. So this is why we've been emphasizing staying liquid, making sure that we got income coming in before we worry about what's the next 10x crypto going to be, which is the next Mickey Mouse meme coin I should pick out. But Mark Yusko commenting here, and this is the title and the inspiration for today's video today. The oldest trick on Wall Street is to push an asset down in advance of when you announce the desire to buy it or to sell it in this regard, right? BlackRock adding its Bitcoin ETF to model portfolio for the first time. So how far we've come from saying that Bitcoin had no use case, it was just for crime, it was just a pet rock. Charlie Munger, taking it as far as to say it was rat poison squared or whatever, he had to say. And Warren Buffett too has never really spoke highly of it. And even Larry Fink from BlackRock, the CEO of BlackRock too. He went from not getting it, not quite understanding it, to now he says cryptocurrencies are going to transcend traditional currencies. And now, now we're adding Bitcoin ETF to their model portfolio. See, we're way past the stage of being ignored at, of being laughed at. We're finishing up the fighting phase. And obviously that's with the SEC versus Ripple lawsuit. We're still fighting that one out. And then fighting it out with this February flush out that we've had this month of just pure coordinated manipulation that drove the prices down on these assets. And who's been buyers? It's primarily still institutions that are showing up while retail's getting shaken out. Oh, my meme coin went to zero. the institutions in suits are, sipping champagne and wondering, what's all this retail noise about? What are these guys talking about over here? We can't wait to add this to our portfolio. We can't wait to sell these products as the largest asset manager in the world. We can't wait to add the Bitcoin ETF to our model portfolio. This is how we anticipate to continue having 10 trillion plus assets under management. Now, if they're doing this with Bitcoin, and I want to hear from you guys in the comments down below, if they're doing this with Bitcoin, what makes you think that they wouldn't be doing the same exact thing with XRP? Now, when asked about XRP directly, we got a very interesting answer from Larry Fink. And this is an oldie, but I just wanted to remind everybody, Larry Fink being asked by Charlie Gasparino on Fox Business about an XRP ETF. Let's take a listen in.
Will you do another ETF? How about an XRP ETF? I know you got Ether out there. How about XRP? Can you answer that?
I can't.
How about XRP? Can you answer that?
I can't.
Are you in talk?
And I got to comment every time I show this clip, the glimmer in Charlie Gasparino's eyes when he got to ask Larry Fink about an XRP ETF. You could just tell he was so excited to ask him about it. And then Larry Fink, yeah, I just can't talk about that one, as he chuckles and laughs. Now, why would he not be able to? This is what I originally said. This is about a year ago when this interview was conducted. And I said, if there was no chance of an XRP ETF, if the simple answer was no, he would just come out and say that, right? There wouldn't be oh, I can't talk about that. They wouldn't be laughing. He would maybe laugh it off or scoff it off and say, no, there's no way we're going to launch an XRP ETF. Are you kidding me? And that's not what he said. That's the tell right there. Now, once again, if they're doing this with Bitcoin, what makes you think that they're not doing the same exact thing with XRP? And what if they're even being, even more so, fudding and suppressing XRP? I want to run you through this timeline real quick. I put this on my sticky note here. So they ignore you, then they laugh at you, then they fight you, then you win. Let's run it through the timeline. The ignore phase was up until 2018. When XRP went to an all-time high, it flipped Ethereum, and for a brief moment actually flipped Bitcoin. That's when they could no longer ignore us, right? Then it went into the laugh phase, as in 2018, basically Bill Hinman gave the free pass speech. And so they were laughing at us while they gave Ethereum a free pass, gave Bitcoin the green light, but then they started to develop these misinformation campaigns against XRP. This is when it really started. There wasn't really this big misinformation campaign against XRP until after it had flipped Ethereum, flipped Bitcoin, and went up to $3 during the 2018 bull run. This is when the big misinformation campaign started. So they could no longer really ignore us. This is why they just laughed us off, scoffed us off, and they developed a very coordinated misinformation campaign against XRP. That took us from 2018 to 2020. This is when we went into then they fight you phase. This is when the lawsuit dropped. Okay, now this phase has continued up until now. We're still in the middle of the lawsuit. Folks are losing patience right now. February 2025, going into March, and we got folks dropping like flies who can't withstand it. They're getting shaken out of their bags. They're getting fudded out of their XRP, even though we're right at the end of the fight. We're going to be right at the beginning of we win, and they execute on the ETFs, and they bring in the institutional liquidity. Now is the worst time to be exiting and getting out of your positions on XRP. I said it last night on the live show. Folks were in the chat were saying, oh, I just sold off my XRP, and I just point blank period said you're going to get wrecked, in my opinion. Respectfully, you will get wrecked. Look, and I'm going to show you guys on the chart here at the end of this episode that this market is already moving back up, as we predicted. So the February flush out has been completed. They shook you out, and we're right at the end of this fight where we move into we win, and they execute on the ETFs. They bring in the institutional liquidity, and we won't be talking about a $2 XRP after that. More on that later. The Trump Organization files a trademark for Trump with plans to launch a metaverse and NFT trading platform. So Trump continuing to double down, moving in the cryptocurrency space. Eleanor Terrett with the scoop. The SEC Crypto Task Force is getting ready to hold a series of roundtables with industry participants entitled Spring Sprint Towards Crypto Clarity. Two people familiar with the matter tell me The first of the 5 planned roundtables will be held on March 21st at the SEC offices in Washington, D.C. Theme of the first meeting, I'm told, will be defining security status. More details to come as I get them. Huge shout out to Eleanor Terrett. And who better to bring to that roundtable on defining security status than the one company and the one cryptocurrency that does have non-security status as a matter of law. We do have that clarity, right? And so I do anticipate that Ripple is going to be at that meeting. Brad Garlinghouse will be representing, but we'll keep you guys up to date on that one. Stuart Alderati, Chief Legal Officer of Ripple, commenting on the meme coin clarity that the SEC delivered to us yesterday. The beauty of the SEC statements on meme coins is its simplicity. The question for the SEC is whether something falls under its jurisdiction, not whether it's legal or illegal. If fraud occurs, other agencies can act. And this is the difference between the current SEC that we have versus the previous SEC under Chair Gensler that was continually trying to expand its jurisdiction without getting that jurisdiction provided to them by Congress in a matter of law, but rather overstepping their bounds through enforcement actions that ended up falling out in the courts and are now being dropped and dismissed by the current SEC, thank God. The guidance sticks to law and precedent, avoiding vague concepts like decentralization. Meme coins aren't securities because they don't confer rights to income, profits, or assets. Their value comes from market sentiment, not managerial efforts. And without investment in a common enterprise, there's no investment contract. This doesn't have to be complicated. And I want to reiterate that point. It's just a joke, the fact that we've overcomplicated this thing. I don't think that we need a new digital assets regulatory body. These are commodities. They're pure commodities through and through. Can they be packaged up in investment contract securities? 100%. This is not complicated at all. We don't need new government regulatory bodies. All we need is Congress to codify into law that, yes, these are commodities, and when packaged up as investment contracts, they will be under the jurisdiction of the SEC. It's not complicated. Something else that's not complicated is the fact that XRP cannot be frozen, but yet we still have Bitcoin maxis like Da Vinci spreading FUD. As I stated earlier, the misinformation campaign on XRP started back in 2018 as soon as they saw us as a real threat. First, they could ignore us, and then, oh crap, we can't ignore this little XRP anymore. This thing's about to flip us. XRP is about to become the #1 digital asset in the world, and we might still do that. I think we actually will. So, Da Vinci still playing around here with his ChatGPT. I asked ChatGPT if billions of XRP were stolen, can they be frozen? Yes, XRP accounts can be frozen under certain conditions, but not directly on the XRP ledger itself. I repeat, not directly on the XRP ledger itself. XRP can never be frozen. It can never be clawed back on the XRP ledger. Full stop. But does that stop Da Vinci from spreading lies? No. Rather, through mechanisms controlled by centralized entities like Ripple and regulated gateways. Yes, of course. Third-party platforms, exchanges, gateways, regulated gateways, of course. How would Ripple be able to freeze your XRP? There is no way for them to freeze your XRP. Remember, they only have one vote on our validator list. They do not control the XRP ledger. Do they have the largest amount of XRP supply? Yes. But do they control the XRP ledger? Absolutely not. And so I retweeted Da Vinci, and I noted here, it's just absolutely ridiculous what some of these guys are doing with this ChatGPT. I said garbage in, garbage out. It's actually hilarious watching people feed AI some BS prompt and then watching them regurgitate the crap it puts out. And Da Vinci knows better too, because we've taught him. He's done a couple debates with Matt Hamilton and others in the XRP community. He knows better. But these guys have no shame in lying to you. And when you're playing around with your AI, people need to understand that it garbage in, garbage out. If you put in some silly prompt, you're going to get a silly answer. It's very simple. And we got a lot of bots running around out here that are running around. Oh, I put this into AI and it told me this. So that must be true. Not everything you see on the internet is true. Not everything AI spits out is true. I had somebody tell me that I fact-checked you on Grok and Stellar never went above XRP. And I said, well, it actually did. And I went back on the chart and I showed them. And so there are things that AI is missing. And I'm just making a point on AI. Side note, But also, Da Vinci knows better. This is just lying to the people and continuing this misinformation about XRP. But that's not going to stop XRP from doing what it's doing right now, which is recovering from the lows that we just went to last night. Yesterday, I dropped an update, XRP final wave. It's the final wave of the correction. The correction is completing. That's where we're at right now. This will be done here shortly, and then we will be moving back up. Sure enough, we got it last night. After I got done with my live show, XRP continued to come back down, and in the middle of the night, we did go down to $1.95 for XRP. I'm on the 15-minute chart, way zoomed in, okay? We're zoomed in right now just so I can show you what happened. We did go down to the $1.95 level, which is what we had anticipated. In the update I dropped yesterday, shout out to Cassie Trades for her TA, the level that we were looking at was about $2. And this is why I said the guys that were selling off last night at $2, thinking that this thing's going down to $1.70, a bunch of people thinking that we're going back below $1, that the bull runs over. And I just straight up told everybody on the stream last night that was saying that you're going to get wrecked. And well, you already did. You already did. Because we're up to 214 right now. So unless XRP does nuke and something else does happen, for those that sold off here at $2, thinking that we were going much lower, unless you scoop that dip at $1.95, which by the way, look at this closely, guys. This dip below $2 did not last long. Down to $1.95. That was one 15-minute candle. So unless you took advantage of that opportunity, you have been wrecked, as we've already moved back up to 214.5. And we are going to be moving up to the upside here very quickly, and we are going to be going a lot higher. Once again, if they are doing this with Bitcoin, what makes you think that they're not doing the same exact thing with XRP as far as suppressing this thing and fighting this asset? And we're finishing up the fight. It's about to be concluded. And then we're going to be into the we win phase. And the we win phase, the victory gets even better because of these institutions and the amount of liquidity that they're going to be pouring into this asset. I hope you guys are prepared accordingly. I've got my positions ready to roll. And now's the time to stay tapped in with us because we're going to be covering these markets. We haven't been shaken out. We started doing content 4 years ago. I've been investing in XRP since 2018. Into 2019, I started going all in. They never were going to shake us out of our bags. And for the real ones in the chat, God bless you. You have made it. We're right at the end of the fight, and we're about to win big time. God bless all of you guys. I'll see you in the next update. Stay safe out there. I am your host, Zach Rector. I really appreciate all of the love and support. If you want to support the channel, just remember that you can start by smashing that thumbs up for me, sharing this content far and wide, and everything else is at my website.